Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Utility, Safety, and Environment Committee meeting for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. The first item on our agenda is the matter of approval of the meeting minutes from the joint meeting of the Utility, Safety, and Environment and Finance Committees, which took place on December 8th, 2025, and circulated on December 9th, 2025. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of entering into a contract for the purchase of chemicals for the water treatment plant for the years 2026 and 2027. Director Pianowski.
Thank you. Mr. Nalitz could not be here this evening, so I can discuss this with you. This is our annual process to go out to bid, and then enter into contract to purchase chemicals necessary for the Elyria Water Treatment Plant for the years 2026 and 2027. There is a slight increase of the amount of some of the chemicals that we believe we'll need. Part of that is because we're discussing adding a new customer, a new municipal customer. We've been working with them for the last couple of months, and we're looking to enter into a contract probably sometime this year. So Scott has accounted for that additional water sale and additional water production, but that would be the reason why you see a slight uptick in some of the chemicals used. Again, we won't know what the actual costs are. This is just estimated. We won't learn the actual costs until we go through the bid process, and that's what we're asking for the authority to do, and then for the mayor to sign the contract once that process is completed.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Pianowski? Mrs. Deary, Law Director Deary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item on the agenda is I would say, companion agenda item for the wastewater pollution control plant. And in speaking with Superintendent Stewart, I had recommended that his agenda item would be passed as an emergency, just as a safeguard, and I would recommend that likewise that this item also be an emergency, just to give as much lead time for the bid and contract process. So
That would be helpful. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you. And I should also mention that that both of those matters are going to go to Finance on January 12th, 26. So are there any other, Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. So I think it would just a little bit of the information is when we get these papers that has how many estimated, how much money and all that, could we have the line items right next to it, what we used the previous year, so we know what we're comparing to? You know, like, because you answered the question, you know, why, you know, the chemicals growing up, but if we seen those numbers right next to it, would that be that difficult so we could see what we're comparing for previous? Or don't you think it's necessary?
Through you, if you think that would be helpful, we can add that. But again, I would say that as it relates to the cost more so than the volume, the cost last year might be different than what the market is this year, so I don't know how helpful that would be. But as far as the volume that we're using, if you think that would be helpful, I'd be happy to provide it. I don't know that, it's not something that we can change, really. We're going to need what we need, but I can ask them to add that in the future.
And if it's not that difficult, you know, like I said, it's just something to compare to, so.
Yeah, I can ask them to add that in the future for future
Thank you.
referrals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the purchase of operating chemicals for the water pumping plant for the years 2026 and 2027. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and to enter into a contract for the purchase of said chemicals. Emergency clause is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved?
Moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of entering into a contract for the purchase of chemicals for the wastewater pollution control plant, water reclamation facility for the years 2026 and 2027. Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Madam Chair, through you. This is similar to the water plant. It's our annual housekeeping for plant chemical purchases. On the referral, none of the estimated amounts or totals increase from last year. And similar to the question that Mr. Oswald asked, it is hard for us to do a comparison of the price per year, and the amount would actually be easier because all of our amounts that we're requesting, our estimated amounts of usage, that would be the maximum amount that we're going to use for the year. That'd be a worst-case scenario. So we're always typically under that by a decent amount. So we won't see the amount requested. We won't ever get to that point, hopefully. So we won't have to come back and ask for more.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Superintendent Stewart? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the purchase of operating chemicals for the wastewater pollution control plant and the water reclamation facility for the years 2026 and 2027. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and to enter into a contract for the purchase of said chemicals. Emergency clause is requested. This will also go to finance on Monday, the 12th. Can I get a motion, please? So move.
Second.
It's moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Oswald. Any other questions or discussion?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The last item on the agenda is the matter of the street resurfacing program and the street selection process for the year 2026. I know that we're starting early, and the reason for that is we got started rather late last year, and I don't want to see that happen again. So I want you guys to be thinking about what streets you want to do. I'll let Safety Service Director Pianowski speak to Street Scan and how that's going to help us out.
Thank
Director
you.
Pianowski,
Yes,
thank
ma'am,
you.
thank you, through you. First and foremost, next Monday, during the community development meeting, we'll have the vendor from Property Management Group, I think it's Pavement Management Group, PMG, here virtually to present their report. And that report includes the data that you've already been provided, the dashboard that you guys have been given access to, showing the grades to the streets in your ward and across the city, as well as some additional information he's going to present that is after that process. Budget suggestions, that kind of stuff. If your streets are here, for instance, in this grade, citywide, and you want to get them up to this level, what the estimates would be as far as an investment, that kind of stuff. And just some additional information that I think will be helpful to understand the big picture. So we'll have him here next week to share that with you. Scott Buzaleski, who is our GIS specialist in the engineering department, has been involved with that process, as has Mr. Schneider, our city engineer. So they're very familiar with the product that has been produced, and Scott is willing and able to speak with you individually. I'm also very familiar with the product, so I can sit down with you if you want to talk about what your ward roads look like or how to access the information. We'll do our best to make sure that it's accessible. I know that he has asked the consultant for one of the data files so he can print even paper copies out if you find that helpful. And it looks like Councilman Armstrong has some kind of blown up things that might help you understand just in relation to where the different streets are. And I think that's probably a good way to kind of see it all tie together. But whatever you need in order to make those decisions, we want to be able to provide that to you. We think the street scanning product turned out really well.
It did.
And the streets in the city overall were graded somewhat fairly, positively. So it was a good outcome to see that. And I think if it was me and I was deciding on the streets, I would find it helpful to inform me. So, but if you have any issues with, accessing it or whatever, please let us know, because we want to make sure that you have all access and that you have any questions answered so that you can maximize the value of the product. So once, as the normal process, once you guys work through that, obviously engineering will be here to support. We'll be here to support, and we look forward to getting that work bid out and started this year, as we always have.
So Director Pianowski, I know we said we're going to start earlier.
Sure.
What's a good time frame? Either you or Mr. Snyder. What's a good time frame? Are we looking at February or March? What would be the best time frame?
Well,
Because-
before John weighs in from the engineering department perspective, which I think is extremely important, I think the other part that we have to figure out is from Finance Director Pileski what the budget is.
Sure.
So I would say that that's probably first and foremost, not that you have to wait for that before you start evaluating your streets, but that's certainly a piece of information we'll have to get so we know what we're working with. But Mr. Schneider, if you would like to answer that from your perspective.
Well, from engineering's perspective, I would say that the earlier the better always, because the sooner we get it out to bid, hopefully all the contractors aren't already
Right.
booked up. So, it's always nicer to get it out earlier as much as possible.
Are there any questions for Mr. Pianowski or Mr. Snyder? Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. So to just double what you just said, to let our council people know that we're going to stress the point, we got to start figuring. We don't have to know how much money. Start figuring out your streets so you're prepared. And then when you're prepared, you have all that information, then we can give that as soon as we know the number. But yeah, we've got to do our part if we want engineering to do their part.
I agree, but I think the street scan is going to be very helpful to us, because when you look at it, there's a failing, and then there's different grades of our streets, and I think that's going to be very helpful as we go forward. Mr. Armstrong, your hand up?
Through you, Chair, I believe that we all very much going to encourage everybody to really dissect these big maps that I have. Anybody, some of y'all, might need to see the bigger version, but if we're going to look at this as a tool, I agree with what Mr. Sayers has been saying for a long time. We do really need to look at the failed and the poor streets. Unfortunately, with the scan, there's about almost 500 sections between the poor and the failed streets. So we're going to have to really make some hard decisions on what we're going to do, even though we don't know how much we're going to get, because some streets might not be necessarily needed to this year. So, but out of just those two bottom categories, again, like I said, they're sections, not streets. So it could be like from Lincoln Court to Dead End, that's a section. So we really need to figure out which sections to look at. What do you think about that, Mr. Snyder?
Mr. Snyder, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's better if we can do an entire street while they're out there.
Entire street, obviously, it's not as easy as it is said, because there's some streets that are 3 miles long and some streets that are
Okay.
30 feet long. So I would say there is probably a minimum you want to go to. Because it's just the cost for a contractor to pick up all his equipment and continue to move it from place to place, that's where you lose your efficiency. So it's better to have areas that are bigger, obviously, or a lot of areas that are closer to each other that we can take care of it at one time. If they can drive it there, it's a lot cheaper. If they have to load it on a carry-all, that's when the price goes up.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Snyder. So, for a scenario, Griswold Road. So the state will handle that. The scan won't tell us what the state is going to, so the state will take care of that one. Isn't that from West River over to State Route 57? Griswold Road, is.
I would tell you there's certain roads in the city that are federally eligible for funding, yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean you're going to get the funding too quickly. Typically, those are the type of projects we would go through, either NOACA or Ohio Public Works, because, NOACA, those are usually a 4 to 5 year time frame you're looking at before you get your money. So you really have to look further ahead. So if you have immediate needs, your Ohio Public Works, which is a year later, is when you apply for it. Like last year, we applied for Griswold Road from West River Road to Tillotson. It looks like we're going to get it. They'll be guaranteed in July, hopefully. As long as nothing changes from what we were told so far, we should get that portion. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's state to maintain. You have to remember that everything in the city of Elyria is pretty much the city's responsibility to maintain, other than I-90 and I-80. So 57, we still are responsible for the maintenance of 57. there are funds a lot, the funds for 57 are a lot easier to obtain because it's a state route, but doesn't mean we aren't still responsible.
Ms. Davis?
Through you again, Madam Chair, and speaking on Route 57, I am appalled that it looks so bad. That street hasn't been that long since we widened it, since we fixed it. I mean, it is terrible now. You out there dodging holes already from Griswold Road down to Bell Avenue. You are dodging holes already, both sides not to mention.
We do have some funding for 57 in the near future, but I don't disagree with that area by the mall, is what I'm assuming you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah, there were some challenges during the construction that probably weren't favorable to us. We'll just say that.
So we can put, through you again, Madam Chair, so we can put that on to,
NOACA has already recognized the issues out there.
Okay.
And there's funding set aside. The funding is, and I, don't quote me on this, but maybe 2028. I had to go back and look at when we're going to get those funds, but it's pushed out a number of years. We have quite a few projects on the schedule to do within the city of Elyria with NOACA dollars. Murray Ridge being one, 57 from Chestnut Ridge to Cleveland Street, Abbey Road North.
Okay.
So, but a lot of times those funds also, we get urban paving, those are very limited funds. NOACA, when you get funds through them, there's a wider range of what you can do with the funds as far as fold depth and things of that nature, as far as not being the city's responsibility. So, but yes.
thank you.
I'm so happy about Murray Ridge, you already know, but right now, it's terrible. Because what they did with the patching, the cold expanding and all that, it's been kicked out, and you just got giant potholes. So, but I'm happy it's gonna get done soon, very soon. Any other questions for Mr. Pianowski or Mr. Oswald?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just a comment, when we did that street scanning thing, they said approximately 65% of our roads are in good shape. So the money we have been sticking into the roads has been working. We appreciate that from the city.
Absolutely.
And we can always use more money, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good night, everyone.